Hi, this is Harish here. Welcome to DB2 LUW Tips and Tricks video tutorial part 109. In this video tutorial, I'm going to talk about how the backup image got bloated with transactional log files. So all the script files, data files that I'm using for the demonstration is available for free download in db2luwacademy.blogspot.in. This slide talks about the problem, scenario, and solution. The problem scenario is we want to demonstrate how the DB2 backup image gets bloated with transactional log files. The backup command, if you execute the backup command, by default it includes the log files. You don't need to specifically say to include, but it includes by default. But the question is, starting from which log file it is going to include, right? So, or in other words, can a log file be included in the backup image which is older than the backup start time itself, right? So if I start the backup now, can it include a log file which is like an hour older, right? So that is the question. So the answer or solution to that question is it depends on the backup will include the log files starting from the log file with the oldest uncommitted transaction. So the log file with oldest uncommitted transaction will be included irrespective of the backup start time. So what I mean by that is if I start a backup say at 9 o'clock, but there is a transaction which started at 7 o'clock and it did not commit, the backup will include all those log files from 7 o'clock. So 2 hours of log files will be there, plus the backup start, after the backup starts, whatever the log files are there till completion. So all these things will be included. So that is what I mean actually the backup image gets bloated with transactional log files. It is actually not a error condition or something like that. It works fine only. So it's not like if it contains a lot of log files, the backup image is not restorable or something like that. So there's no issues with like that. So you can take the backup, you can restore it, you can. The thing is, it will be including a lot of additional log files than it is ideal, right? So that is what I wanted to mention. So the good thing to do is then to keep your transactions short. Don't allow for any stray transactions or something, uncommitted transactions for a long time. So long running transactions or like an uncommitted transaction for a long time is going to have an impact on the backup as well. So in terms of the log files that are getting bundled inside the backup image. So that is what I'm trying to say here. Now the question is, how do you find it out then? So you can use the routine mount get transaction log to get the oldest application ID which is holding that oldest uncommitted transaction. So once you get the application ID, you can use the command db2pd-transactions. Oh, I think there is a small typo. So transactions is a single word. Okay. So you can use the command db2pd-transactions and get the LSN number for the transaction. Then from that LSN number, you can get the log file using the command db2flsn. So that is the tip that I wanted to provide. And this situation can become very worse if infinite logging is enabled in the database without any restriction parameters. Like for example, if you don't have any numlog, span or maxlog configured and you open up the infinite logging, or if the infinite logging is configured without those restriction parameters, if there is a stray transaction, the backup might include so many log files, right? So because infinite logging is enabled, so you can go more than 255 log files, right? So it can be pretty much significantly bad in terms of number of log files included if infinite logging is enabled. So always keep a check on long running transactions or any stray uncommitted transaction for a long time. If it is lingering, we need to check that out. So that is the tip I'm trying to provide here. As usual, let us go to the example part. Okay, so here I have the database jungle, so I have already connected to the database. It's a recoverable database. So you can see that I have already created the database and updated for archival, and log primary is 5 and log secondary is 200, and I have taken a backup also for that, enabling the archival. Now I have connected to the jungle database, so I'm going to run the table. I'm going to create two tables, t_lock and t_log, and I'm running some SQLs, just insert few records in them and commit it. Okay, so let me just do that quickly. Okay, it's doing it. Okay, all done. So I go to terminal 2 and I intentionally see this is like a one single insert record into t_log. So by itself it's not consuming a huge transactional log space, but it is just creating a stray long uncommitted transaction in terminal 2. So let's go do that. So let's go to terminal 2 and connect to jungle. So 63 is the application handle, and now it is uncommitted, right? Okay, so now let's go back, and in this terminal 1 I run loop.sh. So basically what this loop.sh is having is, I'll show you, it's just running the same 1503k.sql. It's inserting more records into t_log table and everything it commits. Okay, so let's just quickly run that as well in terminal 1. Now I have to go there and run this loop.sh. It will take a while for completing, because it's going to insert a lot of records and a lot of transactional log files will be generated. So what I can do is, so after that is run, I can show you this one. Okay, in fact, okay, let me, so this one is going to use monget transactional log file, and this is the column that I'm talking about, application ID holding oldest transaction. So once I get this application ID holding the oldest transaction, from there I can go on to find my oldest oldest transactional log file holding that uncommitted transaction. So let me run this quickly. Okay, so it's completed. So you can see 63, right? I told you, right? So 63 is the application handle. So this is a stray insert, and this is the oldest application holding the oldest transaction, or this is not the oldest application, but application ID holding the oldest transaction. And there is a first active log. So you can see first active log is 0 and current active log is 25, which means the log pointer is at 25, and the first active log is 0. So if I take a backup now, it will not include from 0. So that is what I'm saying. So it is not going to include from 0, or it's not going to include from 25, right? It's not going to use the current active log file. So whatever corresponds to this. So what is the application ID? The application ID is 63. So for this application, what is the corresponding transaction? So for that, I told you to get this one, right? So copy that, run that. So 63, that is the application handle. So you can see that I'll be getting this LSN number. Okay, so this is the first LSN number. You don't need to select the 0x. 0x is for the hexadecimal, so we can just leave that. So just copy that LSN number and provide it in here. Okay, so let me just take that, provide it to FLSN command. You just need to give this LSN number. So you got the old application ID, from there you got the transaction, from the transaction you get the first LSN and you provide that LSN number here. So S002.log. So even though your first active log file is 0, current log file is 25, the backup image, if I run, it will include from 2.log. That is what I'm saying. So from 2.log everything will be included, even though all the other transactions are committed. See, when I ran this loop.sh, it ran with commit, right? So there was only one transaction. This one insert log record is in application handle 63, is in the log file 2.log. It did not just commit, but after that every single transaction has been committed. So what is going to happen is if I go and take a backup of the jungle database online, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so let me do that, and I can go and show you. I can show you using the check backup command. I can show you the log files that got included. You can see from 2.log everything will be there. So let's just wait for the backup to get completed. Hopefully my power will be there. Okay, let's check it out. It's going to take a little bit of time. So from 2.log to 25.log, so roughly about 23-24 log files it is going to get included, and the situation will become unimaginably worse if infinite logging is enabled. See, because if infinite logging is enabled, from 2.log you don't know infinite logging is enabled, you can cross even 300, 400, 500 log files, right? So when infinite logging is there, you want to take an online backup, it's not a very good combination to do actually because of this, right? So if you are restricting the infinite logging by means of other parameters like numlog span or max log like that, then you can go ahead and do it. Okay, so let's copy that, paste that. Okay, yeah, so you can see that from 2.log it got included. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think everything will be there up to 25. So you can see here 25. It's not in the ascending order, but you can make it out. So definitely all the log files will be there from 2 to 25. So 0 and 1 are not part, even though your first active log file is 0, it's not included. 1 is also not included. From 2 it will be included because from 2.log only the uncommitted transaction is there. So we got the uncommitted transaction LSN number by running this command DB2 PD for the transaction and app ID. So how did we find out which app ID is the oldest one, which is having that oldest uncommitted transaction? We can use the get transaction log and use the application ID holding oldest transaction. So you get the app ID, you get the transaction, you get the transaction LSN, and you feed it to DB2 LSN, you get the log file. So from that log file, backup will be containing including the logs from this point onwards. So here you are seeing like this, but in a real time you might see some other numbers. So in your environment it will be some other numbers. So, and infinite logging will definitely make this worse. So you will find 200-300 log files getting included. So never try to have such straight transactions like this, or even if it is not a straight transaction, long running transaction also is an issue. So if you have infinite logging enabled with a long running transaction and you kick off an online backup after an hour or so, that is also going to include a huge number of log files. So that is the tip that I wanted to provide you. So hope this information was useful to you. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel youtube.com/db2luw academy. See you in the next video tutorial. Until then, bye bye.